Hi, I'm Jackie. Today I'm going to introduce the guest uh, from Colombia and Cuba. Today we have a special opportunity to journey to a vibrant country in South America, as our guest shares his personal experience from his home country, Colombia. He begins by painting a broad picture of a nation, touching on the spirit of the Colombian people and the rich tapestry of its culture. He promised to guide us through some of the most interesting aspects of his homeland, from its linguistic roots and stunning geography to its unique architecture and academic life. So dive in and explore Colombia together. First, our guest grounds us in the basic of the cultural language. In Colombia, the official language is Spanish. This immediately offers an interesting point of contrast with his giant neighbor, Brazil. He explains that while Colombia speaks Spanish, Brazilians speak Portuguese, and the reason for this is historical, tracing back to the colonial era when Brazil was colonized by Portugal. Next, it takes us on a geography tour. Colombia is a tropical country situated near the equator. You will naturally expect the weather to be hot and humid in many parts. It is. However, Colombia's geography holds a fascinating secret that defies this simple expectation. The majestic Andes Mountains run through the country. Because of this, significant parts of Colombia are situated at high altitude, so while you have coastal regions with classic tropical heat in the northern area, including the capital Bogota, the weather is much milder and not that hot at all. This creates a nation of incredible climate diversity. Moving from the natural landscape to the built environment, our guests discussed the architecture. Architectural styles in Colombia are as diverse as its geography. In many cities, you can find beautiful European style and buildings, a legacy of its colonial history. This stands alongside more local, traditional styles, creating unique and characteristic urban fabric. He emphasized that this brand is a particularly interesting aspect of Colombian culture. To truly bring this to life, our guest and the host engaged in a dynamic discussion. They illustrated how these different cultural influences have merged over time, show us how the unique Colombian history is reflected in its towns and cities. It's a living history lesson that told through bricks and mortar. Next, I'm going to introduce the Kiriba. You ever imagined a place where air is filled with scan of the ocean and vibrant colors of tropical flowers? Our speaker Lisa begins by taking us to one of her early homes, a fascinating country situated in the heart of the Pacific Ocean. One of the first things that caught her attention, and one of the most striking cultural images he shares, is what the local girls wear. It's a simple yet beautiful tradition. They wear fresh flowers in their hair. This elegant practice immediately paints a picture of a culture deeply connected to its natural environment. But the beauty of this place, what she called Kariba, is not just skin deep. It's a delves into its traditional cuisine and is a world of unique and accessible flavors. Let's talk about food. For instance, she mentions a delicious food called coconut. Now, in the West like Taiwan, you might be accustomed to buying coconut drinks from a vendor, but in Kiriba, the abundance of nature is right at your fingerprints. Coconut, the fruit like this, is often found growing near the road. This means you don't need to spend a lot of money to enjoy a fresh, delicious snake straight from nature. Another staple she highlights is called great taro. It isn't just any food, it's packed with nutrition. Lisa describes it as a big thing, both in importance and in physical size. It's heavy and substantial, forming a core part of the local diet. And of course, given that Kiribati is an island in the Pacific, seafood is a major part of the culinary scheme. The cuisine is a vibrant mix of the ocean's bounty and the land's harvest. She often mentions a specific intriguing dish that combines these elements: coconut, peats, and onions. Lisa's narrative then takes a thoughtful turn, connecting Kiribati to a broader global issue. She talks about the weather patterns in the region, which are influenced by a meteorological phenomenon, a fusion of systems. This brings her to the urgent topic of climate change. The sea and the land are being visibly affected. Rising sea levels and changing weather patterns pose a real threat to coastal communities like those in Kiribati. But Lisa shares a message of hope and action. The solution being implemented in both simple and powerful, planting trees alongside the coast. This isn't just a theoretical idea. People are actively doing it. These trees act as natural barriers, protecting the land from erosion and helping to stabilize the local climate against these global changes. Finally, Lisa brings us back to the unique landscape and architecture of Kiribati. On the, on the same stretch of land, there is a striking contrast. Alongside the dynamic coastline, there is another great quieter feature, a scan lake, and above this lake, sitting majestically, is a traditional dome. The dome represents the architectural heritage of Aruba. It's not a forgotten relic, it's a living conclusion. It tells us that there are people who are dedicated to preserving this knowledge. Someone, a speaker, a keeper of this craft, acti- actively teaches others how to build these traditional hot domes, ensuring that this unique cultural identity is passed down to future generations.